My name is Martha Koda, and for my Sports Medicine 3, Unit 3 Motion Analysis project, I'll be analyzing a golf swing. My client is Josie Feeney, and she's been playing golf her whole life, as well as for the high school team for 3 years now. We decided to work together because she wanted to know if there was things that she could fix with her golf swing. And since there's a multitude of things contributing to one golf swing, I decided to focus on primarily hip placement, head movement, and precision as a way to compare between her baseline and results, as well as between her baseline results to the professional athlete. This is a video of her baseline swing. And one major aspect in proper golf form is limiting the amount of movement in the lower body to ensure proper fluidity and precision when coming in contact with the ball. So I decided to draw like a hip box around where her knee is at and where her bottom ends, and it will allow us to observe the amount of movement she has before she comes in contact with the ball, during, and then also after. And it will tell us if she's leaning too forward, if she doesn't have proper form, or if she's leaning back. The markations of like above her head and in front of her face, those are to tell us how much she's leaning forward or if her head stays within the box during her progression of her swing. And you can see how her head kind of leans forward and then the ball kind of veers to the left. This can be due to her kind of putting weight forward as she's trying to inch closer to the ball, and it causes her club head to come in contact with the ball, not in the center, and it makes it go left instead of forward. And also, I took the baseline and results video in different locations, so the football field demonstrates the distance of each ball as well as their relative position from her starting position. And then the professional athlete I'm comparing Josie's swing to is Danielle Kang. And I decided to go with an athlete that is the same sex and height as Josie so we can compare more accurately, just because height and sex are a big contributor to everyone's swing and everyone's kind of varies depending on those factors. We can see how Danielle Kang, she stays within that hip box, and it's easier to observe. Only her knee kind of jerks out of position a little bit, and then her head remains in that position throughout the whole progression of her swing. And I would say most of it is similar, besides the part where we can't really see the back end of Josie's swing, but also just that movement forward, and that's what we're trying to correct. And then this is a video of her results. We can see how her hips stay within that box, and since we weren't able to observe that in the baseline video, we can still see how they remain there. I don't think there's much of a difference with that, but we can also see how her head stays within that box or within that outline of the red demarcations, and the ball goes straight. And then you also want to ensure, whenever I mention her head movement, I'm not talking about her head moving at all. Like, it can move because you need enough head movement when you're rotating your body, but I'm talking about pushing it forward or pushing it back, because those indicate whether her weight is placed correct her feet. So if she's leaned forward, that means that the amount of weight on her feet is towards her toes, and if she's too far back, then that means that it's more on her heels, and that will just mean that there isn't proper posture and the progression of her swing won't result in it driving forward. Let's see how the position of the balls are more centered. I know that they're kind of at different speeds, but there's minimal difference between both swings. I did observe how Danielle Kang's knee kind of goes out a little bit, and you can see it there. And then also just how Josie's hip goes out of position right there. And you're supposed to stay within the box, but it's such minimal movement that we're not too worried about it. The red hip box is more of a guidance of where her body should be in relation to her head as well as everything else compared to her starting position. So just that minimal amount of movement in her hip isn't too alarming, but we'd want to be within that box in the future. And then this is a video of her baseline and her results together. And we can just see how she's more leaned forward in the baseline, how I mentioned previously, and how in the end she's more further back and her weight is evenly distributed. There isn't much of a difference between the distance her golf balls traveled before and after. However, there is a difference with their placement before and after. We can see how the purple balls are closer to the black arrow compared to the red balls. And the purple is the after and the red is the before. and you can just see how they're more centered around it, opposed to how the red one's to the right, one's to the left, and one is there. You can also see how there's more of not just accuracy, but also they're closer together. Yeah. Thank you for listening to my presentation.